Hey guys, it's S0ur, and let's talk spawning in Advanced Warfare, because it's laughably bad sometimes. This entire video isn't going to be me complaining about spawns over regular gameplay. I actually have quite a few hilarious spawn fails that I'll show in just a bit, and one clip of some old school spawn trapping in particular that might just blow your mind. It was so terrible. So to briefly preface what I'm going to say, or my main point here, I said way back in my initial impressions video, a day after the game came out, when I only had 3 hours played in this game, that I could already tell the spawns felt a little off. They just weren't that great, and I said perhaps it wasn't that the spawning algorithm got worse, it's just the exo movement stuff that made it so that spawns that might have been safe in a previous COD game are not safe now, because you can just double jump to see over a building or hop a truck, and you can cross the entire map in a crazy low amount of time by chaining together the right abilities. Now, I'm not so sure that's the case. The exo movement's still a factor, but there's something fundamentally funky with the spawning system. Most of the time, the spawns in this game are just fine. But then every once in a while, the spawning algorithm just seems to not find anywhere safe to put you and says, fuck it, how about here? And you can get terrible spawns in this game that I have not seen in many years of COD. You can spawn right next to enemies, you can spawn with enemies aiming right at you, you can spawn on explosives, you can spawn in objectives like hardpoints, and just really not good stuff. And like I said, most of the time the spawns are fine, and when these spawns do happen, I'm rarely annoyed or frustrated. It's usually just hilarious, because when these spawns do happen, they're just so terrible, it's comical. So I don't really feel like making this a complaining video, or regard at Sledgehammer fix your spawns, because I'm still enjoying the game. This isn't really ruining my experience, and this video is mostly about sharing some ridiculous spawns that I've recorded over the last little bit. So let's do that. You can see I've switched up the game. It's over to some uplink on recovery. I'm just going to push up into the enemy spawn here, clear it out a bit so that our team can come in, and we do score the uplink. And then suddenly another guy. I thought we kind of cleared this place out, but wait a minute, there's another guy. Yep, they're spawning right in front of my face. And fair enough, it's right by their portal, but there are tons of other places this game could be spawning them right now, and it chose right in front of me. And I thought maybe the rocks blocked my way, but even here, standing right next to them, they're still spawning in. And that's craziness. I'm finally taken out, but that blew my mind. Like, I didn't think that was remotely possible with our current spawning technology, but sure enough, that just happened. So this is definitely one of the worst clips I have of bad spawning, but I have tons of them, so let's keep going. This is a pretty simple one on Riot. I'm just going to charge into the previous enemy spawn, and there's a guy sitting in the corner right there. He looks AFK, but my teammate just spawned right in front of him, so if he wasn't AFK, he'd be staring right at where that guy spawned, which just seemed like a weird place to spawn the guy. But I guess it was marked as okay because I was there, but I was about to get in a gunfight with that guy if he wasn't AFK. So that just seemed like an odd spawn. Not the worst, but let's keep going. Here I am on retreat. I get wrecked, and I respawn right in this guy's face and his teammate, who's over there to the right. So even if I had won one gunfight, I probably would have lost the other. And that just doesn't seem like the best spawn to me, but moving on. This is kind of a different type of bad spawn in my opinion. I just called in this bombing run, and I kill myself with it. And I respawn in the hardpoint, and I actually take control of the hardpoint because I respawned in it. And that just doesn't seem fair. It's one thing to respawn you in the hardpoint when your team controls it, but it's another to respawn you in the hardpoint when it's neutral. It just seems a bit strange to me. But I have an even worse case of this coming up next. On a different match of hardpoint on the same map, our system gets hacked. I'm trying to take the hardpoint. I fail. Respawn over here thinking, well, maybe I can run around the building here. I've never really tried. Nope, you die. Move. And I respawned in the hardpoint when it was enemy controlled. I respawned in an enemy hardpoint, made it contested because I spawned there, and killed a guy and took it. That just doesn't seem very fair either. I can review the footage and show that it was indeed an enemy controlled hardpoint right until the time where I spawned on it, made it contested, saw these enemies jumping out of there, and was able to take it for my team. So yeah, I think that's pretty ridiculous, but let's take a look at another one. Here's a pretty standard bad spawn here on Instinct, I believe, on uplink. We're winning by a ton. I just push up into the spawn, and boop, this guy spawns right in front of my face and my teammate's face. There are two of us here, and the game still spawned that guy right in front of both of us, which is pretty ridiculous. Like, my line of sight on that guy was unimpeded. I don't know, I can't explain it. That was just really bad. But let's keep going, because this is fun. I shall show 3 more terrible spawns from my massive collection. So here I am, I capture Goliath on Biolab, I respawn in the building, And look at that, a guy spawns directly opposite me. We spawn into some kind of Mexican standoff situation here, where whoever is quicker to the draw gets the kill. And I suppose I ended up being victorious, but that's still a pretty ridiculous situation to be put in. So that's a thing, let's move on. Here's a pretty bad spawn on, I think this is Detroit, just trying to hold down this hard point. And I believe in a second I'm gonna rush down here and find a couple people. I'm going to completely lose that gunfight, and I'm going to respawn in the exact same place that I just died, and 2 people rush in, and I'm able to kill one, but die to the other, and that just seemed like a terrible spawn. It respawned me right where I died, and 2 enemies rushed in, and I don't even know who got cheated there. Was it the enemy that died, or was it me? Because I think if they take me out, I should be kind of out of the fight for a little bit, and they should have a good chance to go in and take the hard point, but instead I respawned and was able to do a bit of damage first. So that wasn't really fair for either of us, but let's take a look at one final terrible spawn. Fairly standard bad spawn here on Green Band. This guy just pops up right in front of my face, kind of like the guy on Instinct, I believe it was, the jungle map. And that just happens a decent amount in this game, you'd be surprised, and it always kind of shocks me that that's possible in this spawning system, because that hasn't happened in many, many years of COD, I don't think. But yeah, spawns like those 10 or so I just showed, they happen a fair amount, at least they've happened a lot to me. I have tons more of these things that I've recorded, and even more that I didn't bother to record. I've seen some spawn rebalancing happening in the patches that Sledgehammer's already put out, but I imagine the problem here is no easy fix, or they would have done it by now. But, oh well, like I said, this happens only occasionally, but when it does, it's pretty hilarious. So I hope you enjoyed seeing some of these terrible, terrible spawns, and I will catch you next time.